Hey, so I normally do videos for a video game, but since I just bought a kayak for the first time, I thought I'd do a little review on the kayak I got and some lessons learned I got from it. So what I ended up buying was the lifetime version of this thingy, the Tandem Sit-on-Top Kayak for $350, which is a great deal for a tandem kayak. And the reviews on it are really two things. One is heavy and two is slow. And it being a tandem kayak, I kind of expected to be a bit on the heavy side. This is not actually true. This is, and if you get the real sheet from it, it's about 75 pounds. So that's just a typo. That's the weight of the old version. This is a brand new one that just came out recently. So let me show you a couple pictures and I'll tell you about what I went through. So this is what I ended up getting. And for me and my son in still water in Florida. It's not still water, Florida, but in water that non-ocean kind of stuff. So I needed something that was small enough for, basically I'm the one that's going to do 99% of the paddling because my son's only 7. So he'll dip his oar in the water and that's about it. So a couple of things to talk about it, there's the two issues. One is heavy, and it's right, it is heavy. It's 75 pounds, and it lacks any side handles. So the normal way that they tell you to pick up a kayak, you can't. There's literally no way to do that. And the handles on the back are, let me go, which way am I going? Oh. That's not it. Hold on a second. Okay, found the right picture. So what I did was there's a couple of things that you can do that don't cost a lot of money to fix some of the problems and still have a tandem kayak that is a great deal. We took it out yesterday. So I learned a lot of what I did, some things I did right and some things I did wrong. This in the back, I put these two little hook thingies or little loopy things with some rivets. That was great. It made I could just grab this right here and pick it up from the back. It technically has an undercut underneath it right here, but it's really not designed well enough to grab onto, like if it's wet or if you don't have a good angle on it. But two little things here that just cost a couple bucks, and then some rivets. that made a world of difference. That's perfect for the back. I also made this little, I took a piece of this rope and a piece of PVC pipe, and I chamfered off the edges and sanded it down a little bit. And then I took this little, it's kind of the shape of a carabiner, but this is actually built to support weight. And so that can actually be taken off, and this is a picture of it all by itself. So I can snap it onto any place that I have a hook or a place that this can hook into. And this is small enough it'll hook into one of those little eye hooks, even if there's a rope going through it already. So the other thing I did to deal with the issue of it being heavy was I just wanted, how about a little dolly cart type thing? And so you can buy them online for reasonably expensive. And I was like, well, and then I was looking online if you can make them. So I was like, well, let me try to make one first, and then if that doesn't work out, then I'll go buy one. Because making one is very cheap. These are pool noodles. And so what I basically did, what I did was I took the pool noodle and I stuck my thumb in the middle to see how big it was. And it ends up being to the size of about the size of a 3/4 PVC pipe. It's snug, so it's a good size. And so what I did was I bought one piece of PVC pipe, which is, 7-8 feet long. I bought 2 plastic wheels, and these wheels are designed for lawnmowers. They were like $6 each, I think, $5 or $6 each. And then 1 end piece, 2 end piece, 3, 4, 5, 6 end pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 T connectors. And I bought a little bolt and nut package that's meant for these kind of tires. But I also bought an extra washer and an extra nut, and the extra washer and nut went on the inside of this. These pieces are what came with the little package. So altogether, it was not that expensive, assuming you have the tools to do it. I bought one of these cutters that cuts PVC. You don't have to have that if you already have a saw, like a miter saw or a hacksaw or something like that, just so you can make straight cuts with it. That would have worked fine. I also had to buy a little bit of the I also had to get a little bit of the glue primer thingy that's used for PVC, because I did put it together and dry fitted and tried it, and after I rolled around a little bit, it collapsed because all the joints turned. So I glued it up this morning, so it shouldn't do that anymore. Another thing I learned that I didn't know until afterwards was if you're using just regular rivets, they're not the greatest things for the kind of plastic that kayaks and things are made out of. This one I tried to pick up the kayak off of holding it from one rivet, and it popped out. So what you really want to be doing is buying one of these. So these kind are more meant for kayaks and that sort of stuff. Really, I guess it's more of the plastic malleable things. Look online how these do these trifold deals, and they make a much larger surface area to be able to hold the thing in. That's what I should have done in the first place. So I went out and bought some of those this morning. That's what any of them that pop out, this is what I'll be replacing it with. Now let's see what else we got in here. Hold on. Where the little shaft for the tire goes in, you got to drill a hole in the cap. So you need, if you have a screw bit big enough. I had a couple screw bits, but I didn't know how big they were, so I tried them on a piece of wood until I tried it in the threads to figure out which hole was the right hole. So that's something you need to build a little cart thingy. You can see right here 3/16, so that's the size that you need to drill the holes for the rivets into the plastic. So it'll perfectly fit in there. Actually, I put it in there and I had to wiggle the drill bit a little bit to make it just a hair bigger than what this was making it, so it would fit in there. Okay, one thing I did goof was I put this eyelet, this is front to back, right? Going front to back. That was a dumb idea. I should have went this way. And because the other side is the one that actually popped out. I tried to grab here and here, and then when I picked it up, and this not only was a upward tension, but a rotational tension that was put on it. So it popped it out. But we took the boat out yesterday, and it did great. And Zach sat here, I sat in the back. One thing I learned also that I needed a longer oar, because this is a very, very wide kayak. I don't remember how wide it is, but whenever you see the charts, they have like a number and then like a plus for like the 250 centimeter oars. That's where I should have been. I ordered the one right below it, so I was smacking the sides of the kayak as I was going. That's not a huge deal. I just adjusted, but I think I will get one of the longer ones and use the slightly shorter one for if somebody's sitting, somewhere else in the kayak. Because if I'm out by myself, let me see if I can get a side shot. If I'm out by myself, hold on. Okay, we should look at this one. So there's a seat here, there's a seat here, and there's a seat here. It's not designed for 3 people, especially adults, to sit there. It's designed for some flexibility where they go. You could put 2 little kids here if you took the seat off, and then an adult back here to actually paddle. But if you're by yourself, you could just sit here. And so that's probably what I'll do. If I don't have Zach with me, I'll just scoot up one, and then I get to use the whole thing. As a newbie on a canoe, on a kayak, I was like, take some pictures of stuff, except that I was sitting here, and my son was sitting here, and I ended up putting my wallet and keys and stuff in a Ziploc bag, and I stuck it in the dry compartment up here. In this kayak, the dry compartment goes all the way through. It doesn't have separations. So something I will probably do is maybe glue a rope to the underside of this screw right here, and that way with maybe like a little hook or something, so if I stick something in there, it has no ability to slide all the way back and forth, just for something, I don't know, just an idea. Oops. And hold on a second, I lost my recording software. Hold on, here it is. You do have to have a whistle. So this thing has a little light, little blinky thing, and it also has a whistle on the end. I'm in Florida, so there are some regulations. We went and got Bass Pro Shops, got some life vests. The life vest you want to make sure, you don't want a regular life vest, you want either fishing life vest or rowing life vest. I got fishing one. It wasn't nowhere near as expensive as the kayak life vest, but they gave you very good arm movement, because in fishing you need similar arm movements, just not as often, to not get in the way of the casting and things like that. Oh, another little tip. This is a corded drill from Home Depot, because my cordless one for the last project I worked on just died. This is a very inexpensive drill, but works just fine. But you got to plug it in. No big deal. You do need a rivet gun. I had to buy one of these. If you buy it from like a Bass Pro Shop or someplace that sells kayak stuff, it'll be very expensive. Go to Home Depot. It's not expensive at all. It's like half the cost, or literally half the cost. I did buy some straps to connect the cart to the kayak. And with that piece of PVC, I had this, and I had one piece that's about all of these together. So one piece of the pipe for the PVC is just fine. So you need this little drill bit to drill into the kayak. You need the big drill bit to drill into the hole for the cap of the wheel thingy if you're going to make the cart. You need a rivet gun. You need this. To make the cart, you only need the drill bit. You need something to cut the pipe, and you need the gluey cement junk. I think those are all of the tools you need. You really just don't need the main tools for that one. And to do something on the canoe, you need a rivet gun. It doesn't matter what kind of canoe you get, so go in and get a rivet gun, right? It's called a well. There's also a different option called a well nut. I didn't learn about that until yesterday. That's another option for making holes and stuff, but I'm not going to go into that. So all in all, I'm super happy with the canoe. It's turned out great. A couple other things that are not really canoe related. I put my canoe in the back of a truck. I went down to the boat ramp and put it out, no problems at all. Putting it back in the truck from the boat ramp was impossible. I ended up having to pull the truck up a little bit further, drag the canoe onto the road, because I wasn't wearing any shoes that I was comfortable getting really wet. So if I had put the front of the canoe into the back of the trailer and then walked around to the back of the canoe and just picked it up and pushed it in, it would have not been a problem at all. But so I wasn't wearing the right shoes. So wear good shoes. I knew, and if your legs are getting super wet when you're paddling, you're paddling wrong. And the last quarter of the way back, I think I learned how to paddle correctly, because I think I was going faster, and I wasn't getting wet anymore. So, play with your technique of how to paddle too. But it's a fun little thing. For the price, great little kayak for multiple people to be messing around with. It's not the fastest thing in the world. We were getting passed by other kayakers, and that's fine. We're not out there to race. We're out there just to have some fun, be in nature a little bit, dink around. You just start going upstream, and then if you want to come back home, go downstream, so you don't have to paddle as much. So, I loved it. The water was not coming up the scupper hole things, so we were plenty buoyant. I had a little ice chest in the back with some snacks and drinks and junk. Not really much up front. And we kept, that's a little cup holder right there, and the seat right there, you can put some stuff because it kind of is in between your legs. So I had me a drink there, and I actually put both of our shoes there because, like I said, I didn't plan that very well. Went out to Target and bought some, cheap flip-flops and stuff that I don't really care about getting wet. See how those work next time. So what I'm doing now is I bought the right kind of rivets. I'm going to fix, you can see how it's not there. You almost can see the hole right there. So I'm going to fix that one with the right kind of rivets. I'm going to put the same orientation. At some point I'm going to get one of those ones where the line goes all the way around. And then take this purple one off because the purple one's kind of not that useful. Tiny little line at the beginning to the front is very useful. If you're at like a dock or something, you don't want the kayak to be moving around. So I'm going to fix that. I did buy like a regular kayak handle that I'll probably put somewhere on the boat, but I haven't decided where yet. I want to put it on probably one of the sides. So I'll figure that out. And I'm going to get the longer paddle, the longer oar, the 250 centimeter one. because I'm average height. This is an extra wide boat, extra wide kayak. So the combination of the two says I need basically the longest oar they make. Seats backs were fine. After a long time, if you're just sitting straight on the plastic, you're sitting on plastic. But we were there probably about an hour and a half. Probably about last 5-10 minutes, I was tired of sitting on that and wanted something different. So I did order a little cushion thingy that I'll try next time. So anyway, that's my review of the Lifetime Kokanee Tandem Sit-on-Top Kayak. Great price. If you look at anything else, the next closest place for us was just down the street. I got this from Sports Authority, and the next closest place was like Dick's, and the one they had was quite a bit longer, which I am a little worried of fitting in the garage, and which it probably would have. About the same weight, but it's a little narrower, so that's where you get the weight from. And but it was well over $100 more. And then anywhere else I looked was just it can get very expensive. You look online for most tandem stuff, you can be looking at $1,000 or more. So if you just want to get into it, just to try it out, just to play around with it, realize this is heavy. So do a couple things to deal with the weight, like the little cart or some handles and a couple different places to make it easier. If you have 2 people that can pick it up, the weight's really not a big deal. But my son's only 7 years old. He can't not help me at all in picking this thing up. So I have to figure out how to deal with it all myself. Okay. So if it's a tandem one and you got 2 adults, you put a handle on the back, put a handle right here on the back, and you're good. That's all you need to do. So anyway, but I hope this was helpful to somebody. I haven't seen many reviews on this, so it was that's why I wanted to do one. And it's a great kayak especially for the price. It's an okay kayak, but for the price, it's a great kayak. And you can if you do just a couple little things, you can make it a great kayak. So for dinking around and stuff. So anyway, hope this was helpful. Talk to you later. Bye bye.